Today on Sports Central, we go over our next team projection of this offseason, and it's going to be over the Northwestern Wildcats, a team that's going to be a very interesting one going into the 2021 season. As in 2020, this team was outstanding. They made it to the Big Ten championship game. They were 7-2 overall. Great season for Northwestern, but once again, this will be a very interesting team. There's going to be a lot of changes in the roster going into the 2021 season, and that's what we're going over here today. We're going to be going over a few players that Northwestern will be losing, really going to be returning, and also look at their schedule for the first time this offseason, starting out with the previous 6 games for the Wildcats here, and they were 7-2 once again last year. Beat Purdue 27-20 on November 14th. That was a good win there. They did get a win against Wisconsin as well, 17-7. That's really what locked up the situation in the Big Ten West. That's pretty much what clinched them the position in the Big Ten championship game, was that win against Wisconsin there. Very low scoring, but a very impressive win out of Northwestern. They did lose to Michigan State on the road, 20-29. Pretty tough loss there. I mean, this team, obviously after coming off of a win against Wisconsin, that was a pretty big deal, but a loss to Michigan State was kind of confusing. But they did beat Illinois the next week, 28-10. They lost to Ohio State 10-22 in the Big Ten championship game, which that was a really close game. I mean, considering Ohio State and how they played in their college football playoff semifinal game, that was a very impressive loss. Yeah, it's an impressive loss out of Northwestern. I mean, that was a close game, especially to a team like Ohio State, which Ohio State was in their own league in comparison to everyone else in the Big Ten last season. They beat Auburn in their bowl game 35-19. Great win there for Northwestern to finish out their outstanding season. First 5 games, this team was 5-0, so you can easily see why this team was super hyped up early on. They were 2-2 in their last 4 games as well, so this team definitely did have an outstanding season. Once again, 7-2 overall, and this team was ranked pretty highly as well, and it's pretty crazy for Northwestern. I mean, this team was just right back in the Big Ten championship game, I think in 2019, or no, it was 2018 when they were in the Big Ten championship. They played Ohio State, kind of the same matchup there, but this team, obviously, they plummeted in 2019. This team was 3-9 in 2019, and then this team came back and made it right back up to the Big Ten championship game in 2020. So pretty crazy season for Northwestern. I mean, I definitely didn't expect them, of all teams, to make it to the Big Ten championship game last season, but here we are. They had a great season for sure, and a big reason why this team made it to the Big Ten championship game was because of Peyton Ramsey. I mean, Peyton Ramsey last year, he had an outstanding season for Northwestern. He transferred in from Indiana, put up over 1,700 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions for the Wildcats last year. Also had a 61% completion rate. So really, I mean, his stats are definitely average. I wouldn't say that they're outstanding, but he definitely helped this team a ton. Like, the quarterback situation in 2019 was a mess for Northwestern, and this team, having Peyton Ramsey in here for the 2020 season, was a huge addition. Otherwise, if you look at the running back core, this team is having a lot of players transferring away pretty much on this entire offense. Like, your running backs, Isaiah Bowser, and then of course you got Drake Anderson, both of which are transferring away from Northwestern. They will not be with the team for the 2021 season. Evan Hull looks to take over at the running back position. He will likely be the top running back next year, put up just over 200 yards, 250 yards to be exact, on the 2020 season. So really, I mean, he put up right around the same amount of yardage that Drake Anderson and Isaiah Bowser did last year. So yeah, watch out for him next season, but of course you have got a very interesting running back core. Cam Porter as well. Should be an interesting year. As for the receiving core, it's going to be pretty tough next season. You lose your top wide receiver there in Bowman. That's going to be a tough loss there. He put up just over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns last year. Your second wide receiver, Kyrick McGowan, is also transferring away. So this team has got a lot of players transferring away, which is very interesting. Obviously, this team is losing quite a bit of talent otherwise, but they're also having a lot of transfers too. Definitely something to keep an eye on as we head into this off season. But Kyrick McGowan last season, he put up just over 300 yards of receiving, 500 yards total offense, with a touchdown last year for the Wildcats. They do lose their tight end, John Rain. He was 3rd in receiving for this team, so that's going to be a tough loss there, putting up just over 250 yards. And they also lose their 3rd wide receiver in Riley Lee. So this team loses their top 4 in receiving from last season. I mean, that's going to be pretty tough to deal with, especially for whichever quarterback is going to be under center next season, which, if you look at this team in general, like, there's potential here, but this team is losing a lot going into next season. This team is going to be very, very inexperienced. Otherwise, they lose 1 on the offensive line, so the offensive line looks pretty good. They lose 1 defensive lineman, and then they lose 2 linebackers as well. So this team does lose quite a bit on the defensive side as well, losing 5 total starters with 2 in the secondary. Lots of transferring and lots of losses for Northwestern going into 2021, and that's going to be the main concern, is this team is going to be pretty inexperienced going into 2021. Chances of a bowl season in 2021, that's going to be the main goal, I think, for Northwestern next season, is even getting to a bowl game. This team, I hate to say it for your Northwestern fans, they're not going to be in the Big Ten championship game next season. This team is just too inexperienced. You can mark it in your book right now. I just don't see this team making it right back to the Big Ten championship. I mean, you're losing Payne Ramsey. He was a huge part of this team last season, and all around this offensive side is just really losing a lot of skill players. Like the only main skill player that you got coming back for next season is Evan Hull, and he only put up 200 yards last season and for the rushing part. So Northwestern's losing a ton of talent. This team had a great 2020 season. I hope you enjoyed it because 2021 is going to be a bit of a down year. But yeah, once again on this defensive side, you do lose 5 total. Lots of transferring, chances of a bowl season. I'd say are pretty much 50-50. This team is going to be right around the benchmark, I'd say, of a bowl season. Anywhere between 5 and 7 wins is going to be your main goal for next year. As for your schedule to start off the season against Michigan State on September 4th, should be an interesting matchup there. Of course, Michigan State could be an improved team going into next season, so watch out for that. Indiana State on September 11th, that should be a win. Then you got Duke, of course, on the road, a big ACC matchup on September 18th. I'd probably favor Northwestern right now just because of how bad Duke was last season, but still, that could go either way. Ohio's going to be a win. Nebraska on the road in Lincoln on October 2nd. Then, of course, you got Rutgers on the 16th. That's going to be an interesting one with it being, for one, at home. But also, Rutgers is pretty improved right now. They played pretty well in 2020. Michigan, then you got them on the road. And then you got Minnesota coming to town on the 30th. As for November, you got Iowa, Wisconsin, Purdue, and Illinois all in that order. So you got all of your main key Big Ten West matchups in the month of November. So you got your crossover games all done in the first couple of months of action. As for the first half of your schedule, here's what I'm looking at for now. I think Michigan State's going to be a close one. Not really going to predict anything there quite yet. Indiana State's going to be a win, so you're going to have a win there. Duke on the road could be a close one. I'd probably favor once again Northwestern right now, so I do expect you to at least have 3 wins in your first 4 games, at least. Ohio's going to be a win, so I definitely think that, once again, 3 out of your first 4 games will probably be wins. Nebraska on the road, I'm not sure who to favor in that one. I mean, if it was in Northwestern, we probably could see the Wildcats favorite there. But with it being in Nebraska, who knows what could happen there. Rutgers, then of course, I think that's going to be a win too. So you got 3 wins guaranteed in your first 6 games. I do think you'll at least get 4 wins though in your first 6 games for sure. As for the second half of your schedule, you got Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, all of them. All 4 of those games are going to be close ones. I could easily see them going either way. Michigan, though, could be an interesting matchup with that being on the road. Of course, if you're going to win the Big Ten West, you've got to win as many of those last 5 games as you can because all of your last 5 games are in the Big Ten West. And I definitely think, I mean, for Northwestern, this is a team that I don't expect even to be close to winning the division. I think they'll probably be kind of in the middle there. Like, I don't expect this team to be like bare bottom. Like, I'm talking like 7th or 6th. But I definitely think this team has got potential at least to be a contender in the middle half or in the top half is what I should say. But otherwise, like, yeah, Minnesota, that's going to be an important game. Iowa's going to be a very important one. Wisconsin on the road, that I almost made a red game. I really am favoring Wisconsin right now. I think Northwestern still has a chance, but I'm definitely favoring Wisconsin in that matchup. Purdue, then, that's going to be a win. Illinois, I'd probably favor Northwestern, but that could come to be a close matchup as well with it being on the road. That being said, ceiling is going to be 8-4 for Northwestern next season, which, I mean, that seems pretty underwhelming in comparison to this season, but 8-4 I think is kind of the top of where Northwestern can get to once again with all the losing production that you're losing next season. That could be something that's definitely going to be a tough obstacle to overcome going into next season. But 6-6 is going to be a projection for next season. I've got you barely making it to a bowl game at 6-6. This team I think is going to be right around, once again, 5 to 7 wins next year. I could easily see this team getting 7 wins, and I could also easily see this team getting 5 wins. Just anywhere in that area, I think will be kind of the line for Northwestern next season. 4-8 is going to be the floor, so that's going to kind of be the bare minimum of Northwestern next season. But that being said, 6-6 will be your projection for next year. Let me know your thoughts, though, in the comments below on Northwestern. Let me know your record predictions and all of that down in the comments. I appreciate you guys all watching, though. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central, and I'll see you guys all later.